Hello, and welcome to a video series about international literature, where I am going to read books from around the world, from different countries, and the first book that I want to look at today is from Finland. It's actually Tove Jansson is a Swedish, she's from a Swedish family, but was born in Finland, but they spoke Swedish. So, but I'm counting it for Finland because she lived in Finland and she was born in Finland. But she wrote in Swedish. So, The True Deceiver. Her her most famous works are actually children's books, which are the Moomins. But she also wrote books for adults. And her books for adults, two of them are two of my favorite books ever. This is the third time I've read The True Deceiver. And every time I read it, I get more out of it, just like the summer book, which is my other favorite of hers, which I'll probably do a separate video about just because I want to talk about it. But The True Deceiver, as the title implies, is a novel about deception. However, the mystery is not only in which of the two women the title is referring to, but what justifies the deceptions that each of the two women main characters use to I guess obtain what they in some sense it's not necessarily to obtain what they want. For one of the women it is, but for the other it's kind of just a coping mechanism. And so the two women are Katri Kling and Anna Amelin. They both live in a coastal Scandinavian village, I assume in Finland. Katri has a little brother, Mats, and a little dog that, kind of a wolfish dog that follows her around. She's got yellow eyes. She's kind of seen as an outsider. The village witch is how the kids perceive her. But she's cold, calculating. All she cares about is money, or all she thinks is important in life is money and Mats, her little brother. And she doesn't care about social relations. She always tells the truth. She tells what she's thinking, according to her. And she is trusted in the village because of this. People go to her to solve problems. One example I can really think of is, by this total lack of social deception that we use to kind of get along with our neighbors. She'll just say, this is how you should divide your property. Build a fence here, keep your house away from your neighbor or something along those lines because you don't even like them anyway. And they said, oh, well, yeah, that's true. So her thinking is, no, it's better just to keep distance from your neighbor because you don't like each other, just admit it. And that's the solution. So people come to her for solutions. She gives accounting solutions to many people. She lets people know when others are cheating them. And so she actually kind of breeds distrust among people and discontent, but just by telling blunt truth, according to her. But is this a kind of deception? Are people really cheating each other? Are they really as malicious and dislike each other as she thinks? That's one question. The other woman is Anna Amelin, who is a children's author, much like the author of the book Tove Jansson, but from what I can tell from the introduction, is not supposed to be a representation exactly of Tove Jansson. She's much more of a people pleaser. Anna Amelin, for example, she loves to paint the forest floor. That's her kind of number one passion as an artist. But she has to fill them with flowery rabbits because that's what the kids want, and that's what made her famous as an author. And the kids write her about the rabbits. They always want to ask about the rabbits. And she responds to them. And sometimes she'll say, they'll say that they have a cat and my cat does this. And she'll respond, oh, yeah, that my cat does too, but she doesn't have a cat. So she'll say anything to these kids to make them feel wanted, or whatever, or like she does appreciate them even when she's really just tired of them, you know, and it's more about easing her guilty conscience if she wouldn't do it. So that's a deception, but is it a necessary is it a good deception? Is it better that she lies to herself and the kids to make them feel better? That's These are just like, I'm using one example kind of for each woman to give you a sense of what the dichotomy is. So Anna Amelin, kind of the people pleaser, and Katri Kling, just the cold problem solver that thinks in numbers, you know, not in feelings. And so, but the little brother, Mats, interestingly, becomes a central point of both something that Anna and Katri share and something that they clash over. Mats is, I don't remember who said that, if it was in the introduction or actually in the book, but Mats is mysterious because he hides nothing. He's kind of looked at as, in some areas they call him like the village idiot. No, I think he's more of like, I don't know, he's got like a special kind of intelligence. He's very obsessed with boats. He works kind of slowly. He's different. He's definitely different, and like his sister, is considered a bit of an outsider. But he hangs out at the dockyard all day, idolizes the boat builders. Not really idolizes the boat builders. He just kind of hangs around and waits for them to give him stuff to do, and he does it. His dream is to build a boat, though. And Katri, in her kind of cold, calculating mind, is thinking about how can she get herself and Mats out of poverty because they're poor, and how can she build Mats his boat. Those are the two things that she thinks about. And she sees Anna as an opportunity because Anna lives alone in a big house with quite a bit of money in the village. So she kind of conspires to make Anna trust her, and then kind of become the house servant in a way, or like assistant. And then she starts, you know, trying to help Anna with her accounting, and then and is kind of looking to skim off the top there. Obviously, I'm spoiling some things of the book, but in my opinion, a good book can't really be spoiled. So just all these videos, except that I'm gonna maybe spoil some things, but I really just want to talk about the themes of the book. And I feel like I have books that, whether you know what happens or not, the part you think about is in the details. You have to read it to really internalize it and think about it anyway. So, but it's a very interesting conflict. How does Katri deceive herself? So I want to talk about both women's deceptions. No, actually, I'm going to start with Anna, because Anna Amelin's self-deceptions came off as much more obvious to me. She, and I have some notes here, I'm kind of, to remember, she does things to protect her own feelings, her conscience, like writing letters, the writing letters to children, outright lying about having a cat, like I mentioned. She tells herself it's because she cares, because they need her, but Katri even in one moment confronts her and says she does these things to protect her conscience, her own feelings, but Katri only ever sees self-centered motives in others. So can Katri even really be trusted? Can a person who only sees self-centered motives in others be trusted? And isn't it better that we deceive ourselves a little bit to manage social relations? Katri believes her motives are pure, that all she does is fair and honest, that she sees things clearly, but only at the end of the novel did it occur to me, she kind of pulls us and others into her deceit only because her results are effective. In fact, she's the first to say that if motives are pure, isn't that what matters more than the end result? But in a way, she kind of lives the opposite of this, where the end result justifies the deceits that she makes. Well, her motives. If motives are pure, I don't think so. Pure motives, I think, can often lead to evil actions. Um, and who decides what is an objectively pure motive? So, for example, in one part of the book, to gain Anna's trust, ironically, she breaks into Anna's house to convince others and Anna that she should live there. No one knows it's her, but she breaks in and just throws something out. Nothing was taken. There was just a break-in. So that's how kind of the village, one of the village women who's very respected, uh, says that uh, Katri should live with Anna now after that happens. So, and she uses her coldness kind of as a weapon to dominate Anna. Um, she plays by her code of rules, kind of like a lawful evil. I'd say Katri's like, in some ways, a lawful evil character. She plays by her own code of rules without recognizing that she steps beyond what others find acceptable, or that she does actually hurt people and their social relations. She doesn't tell Anna that the game they are playing with Anna's money is real. They play when she becomes Anna's accountant. She makes up this game and kind of deceives her about the intentions in order to kind of put away money. She plays a game with Anna to put away money for Mats the boat, because remember, her goal is to get Mats, her little brother, his boat. So that's the other thing here, is this kind of class difference between the two is something that comes between them, and there's a moment where Katri comes out and calls on this and says, you just throw money around, you don't care that others are cheating you, publishers and others, because you just don't care, and sees that as irresponsible and kind of like a slap in the face. There's a moment where she just says it, but she's really been thinking this the entire novel, and it's the first time you hear it, and it's almost understated, but it's always there, and that there's a little bit of resentment from Katri toward Anna because of the difference in social class, because of Anna's privileges growing up in a richer family, um, that she doesn't appreciate money like Katri does. Katri really idolizes money and Mats. Katri may be honest, but she is deeply unhappy and unable to enjoy indulgent small pleasures that Mats and Anna can. Mats in many ways is more similar to Anna than Katri. Anna and Mats bond over their passion for like adventure novels, whereas Katri only reads classics. And Mats and Anna both share a singular focus on their passion. Anna is very focused on her singularly focused on her painting, and even in her painting, singularly focused on the forest floor, despite having to fill it up with bunny rabbits. And Mats is singularly focused on getting his boat and building his boat, and or boats in general. The difference between Mats and Anna is that Mats is pure and uncompromising in his vision, while Anna's forced to compromise her vision, and so she has to hide something he does not. Perhaps the rabbits, the flowery rabbits, or the rabbit in the book does not represent Anna, but it represents deceit. Perhaps the dog does not represent Katri, the dog that follows her around. It represents honesty. The rabbits with the flowers representing the deceit, and the dog that is disguised as a wolf, but that's also a deceit. You think it's honesty, but it's also a deceit. So the dog, while appearing to represent honesty, is only another kind of deceit. That pure, no care for social relations, that sense of like cutting, I'm just going to say the truth and say what I think all the time, is actually another kind of deceit. That's my opinion. That's what I kind of took away from the novel, and that shattering the illusions that bind social ties, if they're even illusions. So So this novel's showing us that by trying to be more authentic and honest, perhaps we're only replacing one lie with another that just makes us more miserable? No, I don't think so. Like the exile from the Garden of Eden, the fruit of wisdom leads to suffering and another world of deception? No, I don't think so. Or is this novel showing us that both kinds of deception have their place? That allowing ourselves to lie to preserve good feelings and illusions of the good that we do, even if they are, we don't know if they're illusions or not, but isn't it better to believe in them, whether they are or not? Believing that the good we do is as valuable as having the power to say no, to not compromise our vision nor our worth, to cut through the deceits that others would impose upon us, because in the final scenes of the novel, the women have actually changed places. Katri goes to Anna and says that all that I said about people cheating you, no, it was a lie. I lied. And she's actually lying to Anna because she does still believe that those people are cheating her, I think. But she's lying to Anna for the sake of Anna so that Anna can feel good, because she sees that Anna is just destroyed by distrust of others because Katri has made her see the truth, or the quote-unquote truth. And so she lies to Anna and wants Anna to have that dream back, but Anna can't. She can't really do it, because Anna goes to the forest. It's the first day of spring. The whole novel is in winter and ends on like the first day of spring. Anna's in the forest and she paints the forest floor, but could not possibly imagine filling it with flowery rabbits. She is no longer going to paint the rabbits. She's just going to paint the forest floor, or at least that's what she's thinking. So now Anna because of Katri, has the courage to follow uncompromisingly her vision, or because of Katri and Mats, I don't know. There's a whole scene with Mats and the boat that is actually important to talk about. Katri raises the money to buy the boat for Mats with the game she plays with Anna, and accounting for Anna, getting Anna better deals with her publishing, with her rights, giving rights to her work. So Katri manages to raise the money for Mats' boat, and she has all the preparations to buy it, the plans that Mats has drawn up. And then Anna just goes to Mats one day and says, I'll buy it for you. I just want to buy it for you. Because of the way that Katri has changed her, she kind of desperately just wants to do this good for Mats. Because she's miserable. She's miserable because she sees all the distrust or the ways all these people are supposedly cheating her, and Mats is like the only pure thing in her life, just like for Katri. And so both Katri and Anna are reduced to, they want to just get Mats' boats. They both kind of do it at the same time, and Anna just pays it all, and Katri is of course devastated because she wanted to do it for Mats. And the funny thing is, there's a scene where Anna and Mats are looking at the boat. Katri's not there. They finally see the finished boat. And then Anna suggests, we name it Katri. Let's name it Katri. But Mats thinks Anna bought it for him. Mats thinks Anna bought it for him, but Anna says, no, we should name it Katri. And then Katri sees that Mats named the boat Katri, and she thinks that he believes now that she's the one who saved up the money for it, when it was really Anna had the power to do it all along. So there's a whole triangle of deception there, but it has a good result. And that's really important, I think, just to the whole point of the book. It's a very fitting and just beautifully perfect way for that situation to be resolved, because the point of the book is not Mats's boat. Back to Anna, not painting the flowery rabbits. Anna has now the courage to uncompromisingly follow her own vision. So it was that twist of fate, where Katri's deceit was actually the downfall of her gift, and Anna's kind of straightforwardness it was a twist of fate that Mats has his boat and named it after his sister, but the motives of the gift no longer matter. It's the end result, which is the exact opposite of what Katri says in one moment, that shouldn't it be the motives that matter? It's the end result. But there's no answer to any of this. Only by recognizing and embracing the place of deceit in our lives can we be truly authentic with ourselves. The point is not to eliminate all forms of deceit. We don't need to be totally honest with everybody. We don't, there's times that we need to smooth things over. There's times that we need to soften the truth. There's times that we need to cut the truth, and we're not always going to be perfect. But by recognizing and embracing the place of deceit in our lives and what's necessary to maintain social relations, if you want to look at that as deceit, you don't have to. We can finally see the ground without any need for flowery rabbits, while still being a part of these relationships. So uncompromise in your vision, compromise with others. It's possible to do both, I think. And perhaps Anna and Katri are kind of like Katri is kind of, I almost wonder if one of these people, or if both of these women, Tove Jansson intended to represent aspects of herself, kind of that were in balance, that's how I interpret the book, that both of them are Tove Jansson. And she's kind of, she was apparently she really struggled over writing this book, so that she was, in this push and pull between these two aspects of herself, and knew that the answer was somewhere in the middle, I think, but had to go through the journey of writing the book to understand that. A final thing, Anna started painting the ground after her parents' death. She realizes that in one chapter. In some ways, the ground represents death, and we all deceive ourselves about death. At some point that, maybe that we'll go on living, that it can be stopped, and that those we love will be by our side forever. And this is another type of deceit that, again, in some ways is almost necessary for us at times, but also we need to recognize that truth to have deeper relationships with others. So how does really the themes of this book? I'm giving my opinions, but really coming back to what are the questions of the book, which is more important than the answers that I came up with. How does deception play in our lives? What justifies it? Where is it important? There's no other book that I can think of that takes on this question so directly and so fearlessly. It's not a simple, the truth will set you free. It's not that blanket statement that can apply to all situations, as good as it sounds. I think the truth will set you free is an oversimplification. In some situations, it's true. In some situations, it is true. But I think this is best expressed by the sentiment of, how could you ever trust someone who claims to have never lied? Thank you for watching this video. That's all I have to say about the book at the moment, but The True Deceiver by Tove Jansson, despite all I've talked about, if you haven't read it, I really recommend reading it. This is just one step in many books that I'm going to talk about. And, maybe someone will find it interesting just to hear me talk about a book they've never read. I don't know. But I'm going to keep doing this, and then hopefully be able to look back someday and, see what I talked about. Writing down my thoughts really helped, but talking them out is good too, because I feel like a lot more comes up. But it's good for me to have a basis to work off. So, yeah. See you next time. One more thing I wanted to mention is that the title of the book, The True Deceiver, the translation is almost a little deceptive, actually, because the true deceiver sounds like, who is the real deceiver? Who's really deceiving? Which you could interpret the book as, and maybe it does interpret as this, But from what I could tell in the translation, when I put it into Google Translate and dug into it a bit, the title in Swedish actually means the honest deceiver or the honest swindler. It's closer to that. So, yeah, it almost, the title actually refers more to the motive of the person for deceiving, which I think is interesting and I think is significant and backs up a lot of my interpretation of the book. So just wanted to add that as a footnote.